Welcome, Algo learners. In this session today, we're going to go over how to create your own Algo template in Blueshift. Here we are at the Blueshift landing page. Let's go ahead and log in. If you haven't set up your Blueshift account, I do have a video on that. You could check that out, or you could just come down here and just hit sign up. We're going to go ahead and sign in. I'll put a link to the video below if you haven't signed up yet for Blueshift. You want to learn more about Blueshift and the benefits of it, as well as go through the sign up process. You can go ahead and check out that video. Okay. So we don't have any strategy, so we're going to create one. Let's call this our template. We have to select a strategy template, so they're going to give us some initial code, and that's okay. Let's go ahead and put buy and hold and code my strategy. So they go ahead and throw this strategy in here. This black screen here, this black area is our code editor. Some like to call it an IDE, Integrated Development Environment, but we're just going to go ahead and delete all of that. So go ahead and just highlight it all and delete it. We're not going to need it. We're just going to go ahead and start from scratch here with our editor. Let me just make sure. Okay, good. Okay. So anyway, go ahead and follow with me here. I'm going to go ahead and Zipline import. Okay, so this is just going to remind us to do some of the imports for Zipline. So what's Zipline anyway? So Zipline is basically an open source algorithmic trading simulator. It's written in Python. That's the architecture. If you think about it, it's really the behind the curtain stuff or under the hood. It's behind the scenes here, and it has you'll hear API, which is application programming interface. So if we want to use certain functions or whatnot, we're going to pull them behind the curtain. So we're going to go ahead and reach behind the curtain and pull them into our algorithm so we can use them. And so this is a good thing. They're there. And so we're going to import some functions that will give us some functionality definitely for our algorithm. And we're going to want these things that are in there pretty much all the time, unless we want to convert to a paper trade or live trading algorithm. This is going to be our setup though for our initial research, development, and back testing. So we're going to need some pricing, and so I'm going to, and our data around the pricing. So Zipline allows us to pull out what's called our equity pricing. We're also going to throw in a finance. Sorry, I can't type. Slippage. Okay, so slippage, we'll get into that, but we have to model, on the back test for certain trading anomalies like the bid and ask spread or, volatility, maybe latency. So these are the things that we definitely are going to want to model to make our back test more realistic. Because it's one thing to do a back test, all of a sudden you find you've got great results, but then when you put them into live action, you're like, well, it's not working as good as I thought it did. Well, that's because you probably didn't model the slippage. And every time you went to buy something, well, you had an ask price that was higher than what you had accounted for in your back test. And whenever you sold something, well, the bid price was a little bit lower than what you thought. So anyway, these are the things that, just very basic, but we're going to go ahead and model definitely in all of our algorithm slippage. And we're going to have some common API functions from the core engine that we're going to want to rely on. Symbol. So what does symbol do? So symbol basically takes a string and returns an asset object understood by the engine. So like Apple, AAPL. Well, the engine doesn't understand AAPL. It understands a number that's associated with Apple. And this symbol function turns the Apple string into the number that the engine understands. I'm oversimplifying, but you'll get the idea. All right, so we have another one, schedule. And you can see how it just kind of pops up for us. And so schedule function is something that we're going to make use of. Don't worry, I'll get into these later. Date rules, and then we have time rules. Well, we want to order. Definitely we want to do some ordering with our algorithm. And we have order, different ways to order. And we'll get into that. Get open orders. There are times where we're going to want to find all of the open orders that we have outstanding, and we will want to cancel them. And then we have a function of set slippage. That'll be it. Okay. So, there are a couple others that we're going to want. We're going to want to import pandas and NumPy. Import pandas as PD. Import NumPy as NumPy. Okay, these are a couple libraries for some mathematical functions as well as database management and manipulation. Blueshift allows us to tap into these Python libraries, which are very, very helpful. Okay, so now that we've gotten this far, now the algorithm is going to need to take on some of our functions. And so I call these the main entry point functions. If you think about our strategy in any algorithm, it's basically an elaborate event loop. You're giving it instructions. It's basically identifying certain stocks based on your instructions and then deciding whether to, which ones we're going to short, which ones we're going to go long, and make those purchases or sales, and monitor it, exit, do whatever it needs to do, and it's basically this big loop. So 3 of these functions are basically automatic, and 2 are going to be scheduled. And so we're going to, let me go ahead and put in those functions right now. Let's define them. So we have a what's called an initialize function. We're going to have a function that we're going to define as before trading start. Don't worry about this context and data for now. I'm going to explain what that is. And define trade market open. handle data. Define, cancel, open. That's it. So these would be good for our template. Okay, I'll let you continue to type if you weren't able to keep up. So anyway, these are our main entry points. Like I said, 3 of them are automatic. So the initialize function's automatic. It's automatically called once and only once at the very start of our strategy run. The before trading start, well, that's going to be automatically called at a preset time before the market opens every day. Then we have the trade market open. This is going to be one of those scheduled functions. It's going to be called when it's scheduled. And you'll see we're going to do all of our scheduling in the initialize function. So that's going to set the stage. And then handle data. Well, that happens automatically. This is one of the automatic ones. It's called every minute during the market hours. And then we have cancel open. This is a scheduled one, and it's called, of course, whenever it's going to be scheduled in the initialize function. So let's go now to the initialize function. So I'm just going to give us some room here. We basically have 3 things that we're going to do within the initialize function. Again, this is called automatically once and only once at the very start of our strategy run. This is where we're going to set up our slippage model, and for now we're just going to set slippage fixed slippage, and we're going to put our spread. That's basically our bid and ask spread, and it's in pennies, but we're just going to keep it at 0 right now. We just want to set this up for our template. We can always set this when we get into the actual algorithm. We can always manipulate it further. Okay, the next one. We're going to need to define our stock universe. And it's basically going to be our list of string ticker symbols. Okay, so let's go ahead and create a list. So I'm going to call it securities. And we're going to bracket. We're going to do a single quote. We're going to do AAPL. Come in here, comma. We're going to do, let's do ABV, and then let's do Abbott. Let's do Adobe. All right. You know, this is just for example purposes. We're just gonna, well, let me make 5. Right? We're gonna make 5, and we're just gonna do, Boeing. All right, so we have these 5 symbols. Again, the engine really doesn't know what these are. These are just basically strings. That are in between the quotations. We're going to need to change string list into an asset list using symbol function. And so we're going to do context security symbols. So we're just creating another list here. But we're going to use the symbol function. Symbol. Securities. Okay, so what this is going to do, each of these string ticker symbols is we basically assign to a letter called S. And so we're going to run each of these string ticker symbols through the symbol function, and it's going to create a new list for us of those actual symbols. Okay, let's go ahead and move on to create our stock universe. So these are the stocks that we're going to be using in our algorithm modeling. List of tickers. So let's just call the list securities, and each of these tickers need to be inside a single quote. So let's just go ahead and put about 5 tickers here for example purposes. You can use whatever tickers you want in the S&P 500. All right, so we put those 5. Next, we'll change the string list of tickers into an asset list using the symbol function. So context. So we're putting context dot because we want this next list to be used and accessed by all of the other main entry point functions. And this will be, I'm going to make up a new one, security. Let's just call it symbols, and so we'll know that it's already passed through the symbol function. Symbol is the function, open parentheses. Now we're going to pass through something, a variable S, or S in securities. So basically what we're doing is each of the tickers we're basically saying is S. And so we're going to pass S, or each individual ticker, through the symbol function, and it will create a list for us that the engine can actually understand. Okay. I do like to print the length of context secure symbols. Okay, what did I just do here? So I want to see how many ticker symbols I converted into symbols in this list. And so I like to, when I run this, it will actually print the number of stocks in my universe. And so that's important. I just want to understand, and just to confirm when I run the model, that how many securities I actually have. Is it 100? Is it 500? Is it 5? So this just lets me see that. And that actually will print out in this log screen over here when I run the back test. So it will show me right now. If I ran it, I'm not going to do it right now, but it would show 5. And so that would be my confirmation that I have 5 securities in the list. Okay, so now we have our slippage model, we have our stock universe. We also will have our schedule functions. Okay, because remember, we have 2 of our functions that we need to schedule, and this is where we schedule them. So go ahead and schedule function. The first one that we have is trade market open. And we have date rules. Remember date rules? Date rules. We're going to do every day. open paren, and then we're going to do time rules. Time rules on the market open. All right. Don't worry if you don't understand all of that right now. No worries there. We will definitely come back to these in future sessions just so we can understand what our options are for date rules and time rules for these functions. Because it's all sorts of different combinations we can do in order to call our functions at a certain schedule. What was the other one that wasn't scheduled? Oh yeah, it was the cancel open. And date rules every day, open paren, and then time rules. And we're going to do market close. Okay. All right. So we've scheduled our functions for the ones that aren't automatic. And so we are now done with our initialize function. All right. So now we're going to go to before trading start. So I'm just going to hit pass. And so pass just means we got nothing in this function quite yet. It's just a placeholder. So, and then handle data, we're just going to be pass again. And then cancel open. We're going to get a little bit more. Actually, I am going to go ahead and define this function. We're just going to call open orders, which I'm just creating basically a dictionary of security objects with open orders. It's going to go get open orders, and then we're going to make a little for loop here for the securities in open orders. Don't worry if you don't get this, we'll get this later. Order in, this is just for the template purpose. So this is for each order in the list. And here's this cancel order function. Okay. And then you're done with the function. And the order ID is basically when we have an order that has been placed, but it hasn't been actually finalized. It's still open. We have an an order ID, and we can go ahead and cancel that. And this an order ID is assigned to every open order. So why would we want to do this? Sometimes we have a limit order and it never got placed, so we're going to want to cancel it before the end of the day. Just a very clean way of doing something for the back test. So what we're going to do next is save our strategy. So now that we've saved our strategy, what we're going to do is just do a quick run here, just to see if we have any syntax errors in the template. So the NYSE minute, start date. So this is when we want to start our algo. You can see we can go all the way back to 2007. I'll click 2007, toggle through the years. You can see you can pick where you want. We're going to do January, and let's just do January 25th. And the end date, do the 29th. Capital, you can use as much capital as you want, but we're not really trading in this algorithm. It's just our template. We're just doing this to see what we have as far as any errors that might be in the template. So we're going to hit run. Keep our fingers crossed. Oh, and of course, the syntax error, line 45. We go to line 45, and we can see that I left off a colon. So we go ahead and add that, and then we rerun. And keep our fingers crossed again. And there we go. That was the problem indeed. Let me show you here. So what it does, it has a time block here of when we ran this. Simulated 5 trading days out of 5. Shows you when the first open was, when the close was. You could see, and so our portfolio value, well, we had no purchases and we had no sales. So we didn't sell short, we didn't buy long in this template. So our $10,000 capital remained in cash, which of course means you didn't make any money or lose any money. The gold line is SPY, the S&P index ETF that trades, and so you could see that SPY had gone down for the 5-day period. So look at that, your first algorithm is already beating the benchmark. So anyway, you guys are really good. So the logs, as we would expect, let me here is the print length of the list of securities that we had typed in originally. So that's 5. That's what we should expect to see. So that's all good there. So anyhow, let's go ahead. If you were to create a new algorithm and you wanted to use this template, let's just show you really quick on how to do that. So let's say you come back tomorrow, you get to this point, you load in your template, you highlight the template, hit Control-C to copy it, go back to strategies, and you want to create a strategy. We're going to call this our first algo. We're going to buy and hold template that we pick. We're going to come up here and we're going to hit Control-V to paste our template into our new strategy, but don't forget to delete what they had given us originally for their default. And anyway, so here we have it. There is our, we're going to hit save strategy. So our first algo is up and going, and now we can start. Well, we've got kind of the skeleton, if you will, for our first algo ready to go. So anyway, there you go. If you like this video, please hit subscribe. We'll definitely be releasing future sessions. And also remember, you got this.